There was something gloriously unpredictable about radio in the 1970s. One minute you could hear smooth soul from Stevie Wonder. The next, a song about streakers, talking ducks, trucker slang, or romantic muskrats. Program directors took risks. Novelty songs were not treated like throwaways, and audiences seemed willing to embrace the strange rite alongside serious art. That freedom created some of the most bizarre chart hits ever pressed to vinyl. These were not forgotten underground oddities. Many of these songs hit the top 10. Some reached number 1, some sold millions, and looking back today, you have to ask a fair question. What exactly were we listening to? Let's count down 15 insane 70s songs that somehow got major airplay. 1. The Streak by Ray Stevens, 1974.
Here it comes!
Boogity, boogity.
There you go!
Boogity, boogity.
It is hard to imagine a novelty song about public nudity topping the charts today, but in 1974, The Streak was everywhere. Inspired by the real-life streaking craze that spread across sports events and college campuses, Ray Stevens turned a passing cultural fad into a comedy smash.
As proud as he can be of his anatomy, he gon' give us.
The song unfolds like a fake live news broadcast, complete with panicked eyewitness reports and Stevens shouting the immortal line, "Don't look, Ethel!" That line alone became a national catchphrase. Kids repeated it, adults laughed at it. Radio stations could not stop playing it. What made the song work was that Stevens fully committed to the joke. It was not lazy parody. The arrangement was tight, the pacing was sharp, and every spoken interruption made the chaos feel funnier. He built suspense inside a novelty song. Its popularity also reflected the strange mood of the era. America was coming off political scandals and social tension, and people seemed ready for pure nonsense. A song about a naked guy outrunning the law.
The street. He liked to show off his physique.
Somehow became comic relief for the whole country. Today it sounds absurd that this was a #1 record, but that is exactly why it belongs here. It captured the lawless spirit of 70s radio better than almost anything else.
There's an audience to be found. He'll be streaking around, inviting public.
2. Disco Duck by Rick Dees, 1976.
Party the other night. All the ladies would treat me right.
Some songs are strange in concept, but normal in execution. Disco Duck is strange in every possible way. Rick Dees, then a radio DJ, created what sounded like a genuine disco hit until a duck voice starts interrupting the groove. Suddenly, the song becomes a bizarre conversation between man and cartoon bird, and somehow it gets even catchier.
Was on the dance floor acting straight. Flapping my arms up again.
It would have been easy for audiences to dismiss it as a joke record. Instead, they sent it to #1. Part of the genius was timing. Disco was exploding, and Dees managed to spoof it while still delivering a danceable record. People could laugh at the song and dance to it at the same time. That contradiction made it unforgettable. Roller rinks blasted it. Wedding DJs played it. Kids loved it. Purists hated it. But whether people adored it or rolled their eyes, they remembered it. And maybe that is the true secret of novelty hits. They do not aim for elegance. They aim for immortality. Few records scream 70s chaos more than a platinum single led by duck vocals.
There's no stopping a duck in his beat. So I got back up to try my...
3. Convoy by C.W. McCall, 1975.
The dark of the moon on the 6th of June in a Kenworth pulling logs. Cab over.
Imagine a song built largely from trucker radio codes becoming a national obsession. That was Convoy. Packed with CB slang like Breaker 19 and 10-4, the song sounded like listeners had stumbled into a secret highway language. Yet instead of alienating audiences, it fascinated them. The song tells the story of truckers joining together in rolling rebellion. dodging authority, and building a brotherhood on the road. It felt almost mythic. Its success launched more than a hit single. It sparked a trucker craze. CB radios became trendy. Trucking movies followed. Even people who had never driven a rig were suddenly tossing around trucker phrases. Musically, it was spoken word heavy, unconventional, and not remotely typical top 40 material. That is what makes its success so strange. It was almost like a folk epic disguised as novelty storytelling. And somehow, radio ate it up.
By the time we got into Tulsa town, we had 85 trucks in all. But
4 Short People by Randy Newman, 1977.
Short people got no reason. Short.
At first listen, Short People sounds like one of the most absurd songs ever to become a hit. Its lyrics sound openly hostile toward short people, which led many listeners to take it literally. Some stations even banned it. But Randy Newman was not writing a hate song. He was satirizing prejudice itself. That irony, however, flew over many heads, which only fueled the controversy.
Little eyes, they walk around telling great big.
And controversy sells. The song climbed to number 2, proving that even misunderstood satire could dominate radio in the 70s. What makes it endure is the tension between its cheerful, piano-driven arrangement and its outrageous lyrics. That contrast is where Newman's brilliance lives. It is funny, uncomfortable, and weirdly catchy all at once. Even decades later, people still debate whether it is hilarious or offensive. Maybe both. Either way, it remains one of the strangest major hits of its era.
Want no short people. Don't want no.
5 Timothy by the Buoys, 1971. This may be the darkest song ever marketed as pop. Written by Rupert Holmes before his later fame, Timothy sounds harmless at first. Bright melody, strong hook, typical early 70s production. Then you pay attention. 3 miners are trapped underground, food runs out, only 2 emerge, and Timothy is gone. The song strongly hints at cannibalism, though it never says it outright. That ambiguity fueled endless debate. Was Timothy a man, a mule, a metaphor? Radio controversy followed. Some stations banned it. Naturally, that made people want to hear it more. The truly bizarre part is not just the subject matter. It is how catchy the song is. It sounds almost cheerful. That disconnect between melody and horror makes it unforgettable. Only in the 70s could a possible cannibalism anthem crack the charts. 6 Star Wars Theme / Cantina Band by Meco. 1977. When Star Wars became a phenomenon, many products rushed to cash in, but only one turned the film into disco. Meco's Star Wars Theme / Cantina Band transformed John Williams' orchestral masterpiece into a cosmic dance record. And somehow it worked brilliantly. The groove was infectious. The Cantina Band section especially felt built for dance floors. It became a massive hit and remains one of the best-selling instrumental singles ever. What makes it so wonderfully insane is the audacity. Someone heard a grand sci-fi score and thought, this needs a disco beat. And they were right. It perfectly captured the anything-goes spirit of the era, when even blockbuster soundtracks could be reinvented for clubs. It sounds like a concept that should have failed immediately. Instead, it became iconic. 7 King Tut by Steve Martin, 1978.
Now when he was a young man, he never thought he'd see people stand.
Steve Martin was already one of comedy's biggest names when he released King Tut, but nobody expected it to become a million-selling hit. The song poked fun at America's obsession with the touring Tutankhamun exhibit, turning museum mania into absurd pop satire. Martin performed it with mock seriousness.
Did you do the monkey?
Blending comedy with a groove catchy enough to stand on its own. That was key. Like the best novelty records, it actually worked as music. Its success feels impossible now. A stand-up comic releasing a Pharaoh joke song and ending up on the charts beside major rock acts. That could only happen in the 70s. It also showed how pop culture itself had become fair game for instant musical parody. And audiences loved being in on the joke.
Dancing by the Nile. The ladies loved it.
8. Prisencolinensinainciusol by Adriano Celentano.
Stay in the shoes now and whole building scene in a whole rate maybe get the color boss dying.
1972. This may be the most fascinating record on the list. Italian singer Adriano Celentano wanted to mimic how English sounded to people who did not speak it, so he wrote a song in pure gibberish, not fake words borrowed from English.
We don't stay in the shoes now and whole building scene in a whole rate maybe get the color boss dying.
Total nonsense. Yet when you hear it, your brain almost believes it makes sense. That illusion is mesmerizing. Even stranger, the track grooves hard. It has rhythmic energy that feels shockingly modern. Some listeners even call it proto-rap. Its success proved a bold artistic point. Sound can communicate even when literal meaning disappears. And the fact that such an experiment became a hit says everything about the era's openness to odd ideas. It was bizarre, brilliant, and decades ahead of its time.
You the cover not choose no bite for not so hobble this again not the cover no time.
9. Dancin' Jones by Dino and Sembello, 1974.
My baby shady, got a dancing Jones.
Some novelty songs feel goofy. Dancin' Jones feels unhinged. The premise alone is odd. A man physically incapable of stopping dancing. But it is the manic execution that makes the record memorable.
No one can stop her and no one can stop her when she gets it on.
The vocals sound on the edge of collapse. The rhythm feels restless. The whole thing moves like a comic nervous breakdown. And somehow, that made it radio-worthy. It was not a giant hit on the scale of some others here, but it perfectly represents the weird experimental energy the decade allowed. It sounds less like mainstream pop and more like a fever dream accidentally pressed to vinyl, and that is exactly why people still bring it up. 10. Muskrat Love by Captain and Tennille, 1976.
Muskrat soothing, Muskrat Sam, do the...
Few songs divide people more. Some hear Muskrat Love and smile at its quirky sweetness. Others hear two muskrats romancing each other over synthetic rodent sound effects and wonder how civilization survived. Either way, it was a hit.
Float like the heavens above.
Originally written earlier by another artist, Captain and Tennille made it famous with soft harmonies and those unforgettable electronic chirps. Those muskrat sounds pushed it from oddball ballad into full legend. Even its White House performance added to the mythology. The song has become shorthand for 70s excess, but beneath the weirdness is genuine melodic charm. That may explain why it endured, despite endless mockery. Love song or novelty disaster it is impossible to ignore.
Singing and janging a jangle.
11. Junk Food, Junkie by Larry Gross, 1976.
I always ask for more, and they call me Mr. Natural. On down.
This song may be funnier today than when it came out. Larry Gross plays a supposedly disciplined health food purist who secretly devours junk food in private. Twinkies, soda, processed snacks, all hidden behind a righteous public image.
And I take out my strong box that I keep under lock and key. And I take it off to...
It is a satire of hypocrisy that still feels painfully modern. What made it work was how relaxed and sincere it sounded. The humor sneaks up on you. It is not broad slapstick. It is observational comedy set to folk pop, and somehow that became chart material. In a decade fascinated by health trends and counterculture ideals, the song struck a nerve. It was ridiculous, relatable, and weirdly timeless.
Anytime I'm Mr. Natural, just as healthy as I can be. Oh, but at night I'm a junkie.
12. Billy, Don't Be a Hero by Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods.
Waiting to go and join the line.
1974. This song may win for emotional confusion. Its bright, almost cheerful arrangement sounds like harmless pop. Then you realize it is about war, death, and grief. The contrast is startling. It feels like two completely different songs forced together. Yet that tension may be exactly why people responded. The melody draws you in. The tragic story stays with you. Some critics hated the tonal mismatch. Audiences made it a smash. Look,
Billy, don't be a hero, don't be a fool with your life.
Looking back, it feels almost surreal that a battlefield tragedy was wrapped in bubblegum production and sold as radio entertainment. But that strange collision made it unforgettable.
She started to go. She said, Billy, keep your
13. Life is a Rock, But the Radio Rolled Me by Reunion.
BB Bumble and the Stingers, Martha Hooper, Rachel Singers, Lonnie Mack, Twang, and Eddie Hisman, Ring, we're going steady, take
1974. Long before hyperactive list songs became common, this record delivered pure overload. Names, references, celebrities, musicians, trends, all hurled at listeners at breakneck speed.
Life is a rock, but the radio rolled me.
It almost feels impossible the first time you hear it. Part novelty, part celebration of pop culture itself, it captured the sensation of radio as nonstop information flow. Listeners loved trying to catch every name. It rewarded repeat plays. That helped turn something so unconventional into a hit. Today, it feels like a spiritual ancestor to rapid-fire pop culture songs that came later, but it still sounds uniquely manic and very, very 70s.
FMAM hits are clicking while the clock is clock, a ticket, friends and room and salutation, render and the tabulation call is
14. The Lord's Prayer by Sister Janet Mead. 1974. A Catholic nun recording a rock version of the Lord's Prayer sounds like a parody setup. Instead, it became a major hit, and remarkably, it was played straight. No wink, no joke, just sincere spiritual music framed through contemporary rock production. That sincerity may be why it connected. It felt unusual, but not cynical. Its chart success remains astonishing. It is hard to imagine anything similar happening today. Yet in the 70s, even this made sense. It reflects how broad radio programming once was. Sacred music, novelty comedy, disco experiments, all could coexist. That openness feels almost unimaginable now. 15. Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry, 1976. Compared with duck songs and muskrats, this may seem too normal for the list, but its backstory is too strange to ignore. Legend says the band was heckled by someone shouting, "Play some funky music, white boy." Instead of taking offense, they turned the insult into a song, and not just any song, an all-time groove. That transformation alone is pure 70s magic. The record fused rock and funk with explosive energy and became a massive hit.
and moving to the grooving, and just when it hit me.
Its opening riff still instantly electrifies a room, and knowing it grew from a heckler's taunt only makes it better. Sometimes weird stories produce timeless music. This was one of those times. Looking across these songs, one thing becomes obvious. This was not just a decade of strange records.
Lay down the boogie and play that funky music till you die.
It was a decade willing to reward risk. Radio was looser. Gatekeepers were less rigid. Novelty was not automatically dismissed as disposable. A song could be satire, comedy, experiment, or pure absurdity, and still find a mass audience. That openness gave us duck disco, gibberish funk, trucker epics, Muskrat ballads, and possible cannibal pop. Ridiculous, absolutely, but also kind of wonderful, because these songs remind us pop music once had room for the bizarre. Not everything had to fit formulas. Sometimes weirdness itself was the formula. And somehow, against all logic, it made the charts.
See you die.